What's up, Taiwan? I'm Brossard with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taipei is responding to a Financial Times report that Taiwan is eyeing a $15 billion arms sale from the U.S., with Defense Minister Wellington Gu saying the country is still taking an asymmetric approach to its defense, pushing for smaller, more mobile weapons. The report says the arms deal includes the F-35 fighter jet, but does Taiwan really need the system? Hamiokan reports.
This is the U.S. F-35. It's the most advanced fighter jet in the world, and Taiwan is reportedly looking to acquire the aircraft. But its high cost and sensitive military technology have prompted many observers to question just how effective this system would be for the country's defense. Taiwan's military told TaiwanPlus that it will always procure the weapons it believes it needs to create a robust defense. And Taiwan's defense minister says he won't say anything more on the potential sale.
特定的武器装备等等的，我想我并不适宜，我们都不会在任何公开知会国会之前，我们做任何公开的说明。
The question came up after a Financial Times article revealed potential plans for Taiwan to spend over $15 billion on U.S. weapons and systems. Systems like retired U.S. destroyers, air defense missiles, and the F-35. Taiwan is already working to upgrade its existing fleet of F-16 fighter jets, and there have been calls for the country to try and modernize other aircraft in its fleet. Analysts say the F-35's ability to land and take off vertically without needing a full runway is one reason to consider buying the jet.
And that is actually one of the potential solutions to Taiwan's security problems, threat from China, that airports and runway getting greater. So that is one thing that I said that the F-35B is one thing that Taiwan's been looking for.
The Financial Times quotes a former Trump administration official as saying that Taiwan's decision to go big on a U.S. arms sale is to demonstrate that it is fully committed to defending itself. But skeptics say that the fighter's high price tag is not worth it. The base cost of one variant of the F-35 is roughly $83 million, while some variants of Taiwan's F-16 have a base cost of $70 million. And that's just to acquire the aircraft. After that, Taiwan would still need to pay for the infrastructure and support needed to maintain the jets. And some analysts say they do little for the country's defense.
And this isn't the first time that there has been, quiet feeling out of each other on potential F-35 sales. But I think that it's a very short-sighted move. Ultimately, American political leaders are going to look at how much Taiwan is resisting PRC aggression, how long Taiwan can hold out. And F-35s don't address either of those questions.
Many observers say that while Taiwan does need more modern equipment, it could use its limited defense budget on more effective systems like mines, missiles, and communications. But whether or not those kinds of investments show Taipei's commitment to defense will be up to interpretation from the incoming U.S. administration. John Su and Hamiokan for TaiwanPlus.
Top Russian and Chinese officials have pledged greater cooperation to counter what they called U.S. containment policies against their countries. Russian defense official Sergei Shoigu met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi for security talks in Beijing. Shoigu said Russia and China should prioritize countering U.S. containment. The two countries have strengthened military and defense ties since Russia's invasion of Ukraine nearly 3 years ago. China has claimed neutrality in that war. Taipei's delegation to this year's Apec summit is hoping to drive home the importance of Taiwanese tech on the global stage while maintaining connections with the event's host. Reese Ayers reports from Peru.
Taiwanese tech can help solve global issues. A message being broadcast around Lima during this year's Apec summit, with Taiwan taking out ad space on billboards across the Peruvian capital, as business leaders and officials head to Peru for the annual economic forum. Leading Taiwan's delegation is Lin Xin-yi, former economy minister, who's emphasized the range of areas Taiwan's tech can be used.
当然，这当中数位医疗、农业、 以及中小企业是我们台湾的强项。
Taiwan produces around 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors, powering much of the planet's AI and computer systems. It's that tech, the delegation reminds, that makes Taiwan an indispensable part of the global community.
强调的是也是呼应今年秘鲁年会的主题“赋权、包容跟成长”，也就是说，台湾用一颗晶片来驱动世界的繁荣动力。
Taiwan is hoping to create new opportunities through Apec. It has long had relations with Peru, though not official. The two countries each host an economic and cultural office in their capital cities to engage with communities in both countries.
我们长期协助秘鲁的这个非政府组织呢，还有大型的这个媒体集团呢，进行社会辅助的一个工作。从过去3年呢，我们已经有捐助过超过200吨的一个食材，对于秘鲁贫困人民的一个生活上面的辅助，贡献一些台湾来的心力。
The billboards across Lima echo a mantra Taipei has been broadcasting for years: Taiwan can help. It's a message Taiwan's delegation hopes to convey throughout the economic forum, building on existing relations, while looking ahead to the future of Taiwan in Peru and the rest of the global community. Scott Huang, Harel Hughes, and Reese Ayres in Lima, Peru, for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has started announcing his picks for his next administration, tapping experienced politicians as well as key allies in the media and in the private sector. Wesley Lewis has the details.
1 week after his victory, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has already begun building his new cabinet, tapping big names to head key government departments. Within a day of winning the election, Trump appointed his campaign co-chair, Susie Wiles, as his new chief of staff. Wiles is an experienced political consultant who previously worked on Trump's 2016 campaign and with Ronald Reagan's when he ran for president in 1980. She will be the first woman ever appointed to this position. Trump has not confirmed his pick for Secretary of State, but he is expected to name Florida Senator Marco Rubio for the role. Rubio, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, has extensive foreign policy experience. He is also known to be tough on U.S. rivals like China, Iran, and Cuba. Trump's pick for National Security Advisor is Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. Waltz has also been described as a China hawk, currently serving on the House China Task Force. He has been skeptical of providing aid to Ukraine for its fight against Russia's invasion. Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth has been picked to lead the Department of Defense. Trump has praised Hegseth's military record. He served as an Army National Guard in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guantanamo Bay. Hegseth is an author and co-host of popular morning news program Fox and Friends. Among the latest of Trump's announcements is naming billionaire Elon Musk as the co-head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, also called DOGE. Forbes has ranked Musk as the world's richest man, being the head of electric car company Tesla, the social media platform X, and rocket company SpaceX. Musk gave over $100 million to Trump's presidential campaign and has said he will do away with bureaucracy and slash excess government spending. Joining Musk in leading the newly created DOGE is former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. After dropping out of the race, he became a key ally of Donald Trump. Ramaswamy is an entrepreneur from the Midwestern state of Ohio who founded a pharmaceutical company and an asset management firm. Trump has said Ramaswamy and Musk's work in the department will conclude by July 4th of 2026, and has suggested it could become the, quote, Manhattan Project of our time. These big names are just some of Trump's cabinet nominations. Most of them will require Senate confirmation before filling their roles when Trump steps into office next January. Alex Chen and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Authorities expect to begin emptying oil on Thursday from a Chinese ship stranded off the coast of northern Taiwan. The operation to remove 290 tons of oil is expected to take up to 2 weeks. The Chinese freighter ran aground when Typhoon Kong-Ray hit Taiwan 2 weeks ago. All of the crew members were safely evacuated. Rough weather conditions prevented work crews from starting the pumping operation earlier. Taiwan and India have held their first talks to formalize a labor agreement. Taiwan is facing a severe labor shortage, which is having an adverse impact on the economy. This agreement is meant to address that. Adil Brar reports.
Taiwan's facing a major labor shortage. The Labor Ministry says the shortfall of low and mid-level skilled workers is especially severe, with the manufacturing sector facing acute shortages. Last week, Taiwan and India held their first working-level talks to discuss a new labor agreement meant to address the gaps in Taiwan's workforce.
We expect that the program will begin in a phased and an incremental manner. That means that we will see about 1,000 workers from India in the first batch. And we expect these workers to be employed in manufacturing sector.
In February, Taiwan and India signed a memorandum of understanding, paving the way for talks to bring in workers from India. Most of them will be recruited through the labor brokers, a process both sides will verify. It may take a year for the two sides to finalize the details. But even before the formal talks opened, the agreement faced a controversy after a news article last year claimed that 100,000 Indian workers would arrive in Taiwan. That sparked a small-scale protest and became the target of an online disinformation campaign by China. TaiwanPlus has learned that the reported 100,000 figure was misleading and there was no formal agreement on the number of workers at the time. Having overcome initial hurdles, both sides are now confident about sealing the deal.
The government of Taiwan have to address the worries from the society, to be honest, because Taiwanese people actually has not been in close contact with the Indian society, so they don't quite understand the society. So what the information they got from the media actually is quite biased. So I think this is a good try to open up for 1,000 Indian migrant workers to come here in the especially the what we call the traditional sectors of manufacturing, so that the Taiwanese people can know them more.
Both sides are now moving forward to welcome the first batch of workers from India and help keep Taiwan's economy running. Adil Brar and Hangshu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's public sector unions are demanding higher wages as a first step in raising the country's wages overall. One group of unions is calling attention to this issue by demonstrating in front of Taiwan's executive building. Chris Gordon was there and brings us this report.
Government workers need higher salaries. That's the message from a group of unions representing civil servants from the railways to the zoos that have gathered in front of the cabinet building to demand change. The unions here say that while the government has made it a goal to improve pay for low-wage workers, defined as those making about $950 per month or less, starting salaries for government workers are barely above that.
这样每个月开销至少7万以上。请问你要员工要怎么生小孩，要怎么买房子？连国家基本的国营事业的员工和公务员都是这种低薪的时候，这个国家会有进步吗？
These workers are also upset that the heads of their agencies and companies are, as they see it, giving themselves raises while worker pay stagnates.
像我已经年资30年的哈，我的薪水啊才落在3万7、3万8哦，根本就不到4万块，然后也没办法养家活口，晚上我都还要去兼差去打工哦，因为现在物价高涨哦，房屋也是高涨，要买一个房子真的是根本就买不起哈。
With a rising cost of living and a shrinking population, these unions are working to make low wages a top priority of the government. Andy Shui and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us on What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, we leave you with these shots from inside Lucille Cathedral in Mallorca, Spain. Twice a year, the sun lines up exactly with the building's 2 rose windows. I'm Philip Brossard. Take care, and we'll see you next time.